Welcome back to the Pluto sphere,
connecting decentralized technologies to the global economy.
We are here to bring you the latest from the leaders and commanders of the crypto space.
And this week, we welcome our guests, David McDonald, founder of ASM, and Aaron McDonald, advisor to ASM, as well as being founder of umpteen innovating crypto companies. ASM stands for Altered State Machine, a platform for the creation and training of AI agents that are owned and traded using NFTs.
It's so great to have you guys on, and we can't wait to give our followers sort of an insight as to what ASM are doing. Maybe we could start with you giving a brief overview of what it is ASM are creating at the moment.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having us on, guys, and we're very, very glad to be in the Pluto sphere with you. I'm coming from Fluffville here, and David's coming from his nerd office. But so we had like a little kind of launch, I guess, and I think we're kind of starting slow and ramping up, but the response has been amazing so far. I mean, we've had thousands of people joining the Twitters and Discords. We're getting some really great traction from some of the investors coming out and starting to talk about us. The community response so far has been really, really positive. People are kind of blown away. They go and read the white paper and they're like, holy shit. And they come back and they're like, I have to read that again. And they're like, holy shit again.
Yeah. Literally.
This is real.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think we couldn't have hoped for a better start.
Fantastic. And David, tell us a little bit about how you guys thought of the idea, where the NFT creation came from.
Yeah. So this one's interesting. I've been fascinated by the gamification of machine learning for a long time, and it sort of goes back to I used to play a game in the early 2000s called Black and White from Lionhead Studios, and they just touched on the whole concept of this gamified machine learning stuff back then, and it basically made the game, like, it would have been a boring game without it, and it's been on my mind sort of ever since then. And when I was heading up Centrality over in Japan, I played around with building some of my own proof of concepts back then. And then this whole NFT thing sort of took off. And then I started talking to Aaron about it, and the light bulb just clicked. The tradability and the ability to upgrade and train and list your NFT, your AI on a marketplace and own that AI just made sense, and it all kind of came together at that point.
It's literally epic. I think if we could just go back one tiny step, and if you just give our followers an overview of exactly what ASM is.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'll try and keep it as simple as possible. So the ASM stands for the Altered State Machine. And the Altered State Machine is a new protocol, a new primitive.
Sounds like such a cool band.
I know, it does, eh? It's actually kind of derived from, if your watchers have been across the show Altered Carbon, we kind of derived a little bit of the aesthetic of the brand and the way that we're kind of communicating things from that show. Highly recommended watching. Go binge it now. It's such a cool show, and you might start to see some come in links between the things I'll talk about now and that the kind of concept of that show.
What channel is it on?
It's on Netflix.
Nice. Okay.
And so the two things that Altered State Machine has kind of innovated around are, firstly, a way to fingerprint the evolution in training an artificial intelligence model, so that you can prove that you own it with an NFT. So it's kind of like finding a way to put DNA in a model as it learns and evolves, and then that DNA is kind of encoded in the NFT. And so you can now connect intelligence to everything that exists in the blockchain space, DeFi, the metaverse, games, all of those kinds of things. And then the second part of the primitive is a way to inject a personality into an NFT. And so people might kind of be familiar with traits in their NFTs. Well, we've found a way to make traits map to the way that machine learning models approach learning about a task. And
whoa. Wait, slow back down slightly. So what you're saying is the people that buy these NFTs are going to actually be able to sort of transport their own personality into that image, basically.
Well, yeah, so we can kind of say things like, let's take the A for game, right, which is the first demonstration of how this protocol works that we'll launch alongside the ASM protocol. Yeah. So in that game, you've got two teams of football players.
Yes.
And you can go and train your football player, which training is like putting it in a gym where it kind of learns in hyper time how to play the game. Then you select your team from the agents that you have available, and then they go and verse someone else. And these like AIs fight, play each other in this football match. So if you think about like games, you might come across things in typical game characters like strength or speed or agility or intelligence, like these kind of traits that we know about game characters. Well, we can put those into the NFT. And then when the machine model looks at the NFT, it says, okay, this guy's a fat, slow guy. And the model knows it's fat and slow. And so it tries to learn strategies that are optimized for fat, slow guys. And what we see in the gameplay is that fat, slow NFTs tend to take up defensive strategies and defensive positions. And so now we can kind of mint these traits into NFTs, and then they become these personalities in these games. And you get this really great richness of experience in the game because all these different strategies evolve, kind of like how humans work. We have individual DNA. When we approach a situation, we go about learning about those environments in different ways. And so we can force that same thing to happen inside of the machine models.
Fantastic. I guess it's like when you grow up in a family home, you always get some traits of your mom and some traits of your dad. And these NFTs are sort of learning a little bit about you and what you would react in a certain situation.
Yeah, and they kind of evolve their own strategy based on the DNA we've given them, that personality. And even if you talk about kind of the notion of mum and dad in a situation, one interesting side effect of the protocol that we discovered after we started building it is you get this kind of history of learning. So when you watch these agents learn to play football, they start it pretty dumb. They don't even know what a ball is. And it's like watching a baby trying to learn how to walk. And they'll save that kind of progress at one point. And then they get a bit smarter and they learn what a ball is and they can kick it around, but they're not sure what their best use of their skills are. And then you can save that progress. And so as you go and look and go along the journey, you can save these different memories about how it learned to deal with a certain task at a certain time. And then what you can do from that is clone them at those different points. So if you become a really good trainer and you train your AI player to play really well, you could go back and sell like the 3/4 good version cloned of your NFT to someone else. So they don't have to start from the bottom. They can kind of get like 75% of your experience and then try and learn the rest from there.
That's amazing. So how do you train them? I know you talk about gyms. How is it that you can train them?
So the gyms are sort of representations of the environment that they're going to play in the real world, the one that, the metaverse, the one that you're going to see them play in. So you basically send them to a stripped down version of that that can run in hyper time. So at 20 times speed across, 10 different arenas at the same time, where they'll very quickly learn how to do something and then pop out the other end a whole lot more experienced.
Yeah. So, and for users, like from their perspective, all they're going to have to do is click a button. So they'll go like, here's my character, put it in the loadout screen, click train, and then the application goes and puts it in this hyperspeed environment where it can learn like faster than real time.
So I know we're talking about football here.
Yeah.
But so as an example, but we're actually talking about personalities and these NFTs like discussing things together. I guess more of a like Sims. When they're angry, you can see that they're angry, and I can't actually remember what you need to do when you've got an angry Sim. if you like, if we go back to sort of the personality traits, I guess a key question here is, how do you stop them from, how do you get people to like have a cool personality and for it not to kind of go off the wagon?
Yeah, it's great question. There's kind of three types of mechanics that we see. So the first one we talked about, where it's kind of two teams versing each other in a football match, that would be what we'd call like an agent versus agent mechanic. So these are kind of games where you're just AIs playing against AIs. There are two other kinds, which are more kind of aligned to your thinking or questioning there. One's called a companion application, and so a companion agent, sorry. And that might be someone who kind of helps you in a metaverse, like a non-playing character in a game, like a quest giver or a vendor or a historian that's telling you about the lore of a place. So instead of having these kind of dumb pre-programmed agents, these can now start to become intelligent agents. And so the curation of what that is comes down to the creator of the agent. So they'll want a certain experience in that space. And that could be done by a person, or it could be done through DAO mechanics and owned by a guild or a protocol. So the important thing now is that if you like think of this metaverse space, right, a lot of what will emerge in the metaverse is the ability for people to bring their own content. So I can bring my own avatar, for example, right, or my own sword or whatever it happens to be to those worlds. Well, what they lack is this kind of richness of experience, which comes from normal games where they have all these pre-programmed agents, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you get kind of community creativity to create that same richness? Well, we can do that through these non-playing agents and give the possibility for individuals to import intelligence into those worlds as well, not just the assets that they have, like their avatar or their sword. Yeah. And so that's one kind of category. And so that would be like a curated thing. I want my bot to, greet people in my Decentraland space and give them a good time. Okay, well, the DAO that owns that space, that can curate a bot and they can officially endorse that the one as the one official bot for their space. The other kind is this idea of digital twins, which is you can teach an agent to behave like you or respond in ways that you might respond. And so we've had some really great chats with, let's say, DJs, right? You could teach a DJ agent to play like you would play a set by having it watch how you play a set. And by watch, we mean like look at the data, right? And so you train it, you kind of get it to the level where you think it's playing your vibe. And now you can clone yourself in a digital way and then sell your copy of yourself to your fans, and they can have your virtual twin show up and play in your live space. So the personality that ends up being there will be created by the human, and then that kind of duplicates out into these virtual agents that represent them.
Oh, mad. It's wow. Like where did the idea even come up from? Like, how did you even come up with this concept?
And isn't it crazy? Oh my gosh. I kind of feel like we've spoken enough about the mechanics and how you guys are working in the background. It's fantastic. So maybe let's talk about who you partnered up with. Fluff. Anyone else in the pipeline? What's going on there?
Yeah. So on the partnership side, like we've gone out and obviously found some great people to come into the early contributor round with us. And across that spectrum, we've got lots of people who have experience with the gaming environments, metaverse worlds, have investments in those space. So there's kind of quite a bit of content, and we're focused on trying to find people early on with that content that we can go and inject some personalities into their world. Like Fluffs is a really good example, right? You've got these 3D avatars that are ready to go and ready to rock in the metaverse space. Well, let's give them some intelligence, and now they can start to kind of operate independently and have conversations with them and put them inside of games and do all these cool things. And there's lots of profile picture, projects out there now that are creating some 3D versions of their avatars, and they just can't do anything. They're kind of dumb. Yeah. So we can kind of turn dumb NFTs into smart NFTs. And so there's lots of opportunities and collaborations happening in that space. The other space is like existing games. So we've had some really great conversations with existing games who I think if you look at, say, something like a Splinterlands or something, we've had a good conversation with the founders there.
Oh, nice.
Bots happen, right? They kind of happen in the shady, underworld of these gaming environments, and developers keep trying to chase them away by inventing new ways to stop bots being successful. This cat and mouse kind of evolves over time, and it's happened for ages. Like, we made our first bots farming World of Warcraft gold like more than 20 years ago, and nothing's changed, right? Yeah. So where we kind of get to now is, what if it was possible for everyone to have a bot? Like, it wasn't just the select few that were cheating, it was actually part of the game. So now you can start to inject the opportunity to have a player who is a bot into those environments. Skill becomes curating the bot, training the bot, and everyone knows they're on the same playing level, like democratizing access to that thing that's kind of shady and bringing it up to the surface. So I think there'll be some interesting collaborations with existing games. And then there's new games in the work that we can't tell you about now, but we're partnering with a bunch of really cool upcoming blockchain games that are, leveraging these mechanics that we can introduce with the combination of NFTs and intelligence inside their game environments. So yeah, there's kind of great partnerships right across the spectrum, from existing projects to metaverse spaces to new games coming out.
Fantastic.
So exciting. So what advice would you give to someone that's new to the crypto sphere, new to NFTs? What advice would you give them to kind of get involved with you guys?
Yeah, great question. I mean, obviously, first of all, come and check us out on Twitter and jump into our Discord. We're there to chat, and we can help you have those conversations. The best way to kind of figure this stuff out is actually just to jump in and get learning. Like, go through the process of finding an NFT that you like, and like focus on the things you love the look of and the art or the concept behind. Like, a lot of people start to chase, the flips and, making money. But I think your first NFT should be one that you fall in love with and you want to keep, and you kind of really get that good vibe from it when you see it. And go and kind of figure those basic mechanics out. And once you've got that down, then you can come and get your mind blown away in the altered state machine and supercharge it with intelligence.
Oh, that's nice. So what you're saying is, you don't have to spend a stupid amount of money on your first NFT. Just get something that you like.
Totally.
You can start, and then you can, I guess, you get a first-hand experience with owning an NFT, which is primarily all you need.
Yeah, and it gives you that kind of first jump into the space. Be careful though; it's a rabbit hole. Like, it's very easy to kind of get stuck down looking at the next thing and finding the next cool drop and finding out what the cool mechanics are around that and figuring out the rarities.
Stuck in the trenches of Discord, waiting for someone to tell you what's hot next. Yeah,
I mean, it's fun, but just beware.
It's fun, but you probably will need glasses after like a week, because you'll be staring at the screen.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So maybe we could just go into a little bit of background on both of you. Georgie, I know you've got loads of questions for the boys on what they've done before.
Yeah, so I mean, you've both got ridiculous pedigrees. How did the whole journey start? Maybe David, we can start with you. How, like, your career to date, how you ended up being the founder of this epic company.
So I started off in geospatial software early on in my career, and I like that. So it's sort of mapping and that kind of software. I like that, but I kind of really have always wanted to be in the gaming space and on sort of the bleeding edge of things. So my career has kind of progressed along those lines. Aaron founded Centrality about 5 years ago, and I had an opportunity to found one of my own companies alongside that trackback under the Centrality Group. And that's done very well, but it's now time to hand that over to the community. It's primarily community driven and was designed to be owned by the community. So that's been done now, and this opportunity came up to work on this fantastic idea. And we just got the right people behind it, and here we are.
And Aaron, how did you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been around crypto since I think 2015, and started my first fund in 2016. So have now something like 50 to 60 portfolio companies across 3 different funds, and been involved with, founding and advising a number of high profile projects out there. You might have come across the Universe XYZ in the NFT space, or Barnbridge, the Fluff World project, obviously. So been around crypto for a long time, have a great engineering team sitting behind us. We have really great networks in the space. My background before that, I started out as an engineer, if you could call digging trenches for a telecoms company, engineering, and then
Love it. Love it.
And then moved my way up into more senior technical roles, and then from there into more senior business roles in product development, and then business management eventually. So I've had quite a broad brush of experience. I won New Zealand's Ernst & Young Technology Entrepreneur of the Year.
Nice.
So I've got a good history of building great technology companies.
It's so nice to see the sort of fruition of the owners of these companies and the builders of these companies. Like, it's just insane what people could be sitting there, having no idea how they branch out from their day to day. And here you guys are just smashing it, really. Well done. Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
Side note.
No, we love it.
Are you brothers?
Yeah. We're brothers.
I'm sorry. I did know that, and I didn't tell you. I'm so sorry. That was part of my job to do that. Sorry, I didn't mention that.
Yeah, actually, all of it. Like, so my other brother also works in the industry with us as well. He's like an awesome trader. He's just got kind of this genius Albert Einstein mind that he's like, the people on the Matrix that can read those numbers dropping down the screen. That's basically him. So yeah.
So you've got one of everything.
Triple threat.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Why have we not got him on here as well?
I literally have that.
So last question, we'll leave you to it. What do you think is going to come from ASM in the future? Let's give a 5-year roadmap.
Great question. I mean, so first off, we're going to drop some killer content and get the protocol out there and get people really excited about the game. Mm-hmm. I think next step is build that game out. I think by itself, it will be a really successful play to earn game, I think, because it's just such a cool concept around the football and engaging content. And there's so many layers to it, and leagues you can build, and renting and trading players and all this kind of stuff. Then from there, we're going to branch, into that metaverse space. So letting other people enable their avatars and connect to their games, and kind of broaden or deepen the kind of impact in that metaverse space. The next stage from there is kind of go a bit wider and start to tackle DeFi, and then down the track again, these digital twins. So that's kind of the roadmap as it builds out. So go quite deep in the game metaverse space, and then kind of stretch out from there. I think kind of like, similar strategy to how Chainlink's built out. They had some quite simple primitives. They applied them to some simple data sets. They did that really well. And then they start kind of going wider and looking for new data sets and new applications. And pretty much everything in the future is going to have some kind of AI in it. Yeah. And pretty much almost all things are going to exist in blockchain environments. So eventually ASMs will be everywhere. And if you want to kind of go crazy in the future, let's imagine, 100 years down the track. Yeah. When intelligence becomes, genuinely intelligent, sentient life, the way that intelligence will exist quite possibly could be an independent, intelligent agent that knows its own private key to its own NFT on the ASM protocol.
Oh, love that forward thinking. Also, love the way that you've adapted during this call. Not only have you had bunny ears the entire time, but you started the call saying soccer, and now you're into saying football. So this is great.
I'm learning.
I feel like we're helping you. Through this
you guys have been amazing.
Anytime. Okay, cool. It's been fantastic having you both on. So you're saying Discord is probably the best place for everyone to get in touch with you. Are you both active on there?
Yeah, we both are. And if you go to the altered state, alteredstatemachine.xyz,
we'll have it. Yeah, we'll have the link below.
Yeah, go to the links below. And people will be there to chat. We've got some great teams and great mods in there if we're not on. So
fab.
Do it.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been great speaking to you both and learning.
Thank you.
Yes.
So thank you, Plutonauts, for watching. We will be back with more from the galaxy of Pluto soon. Don't forget to give us a like, give us a share, and subscribe.